That's my baby. I'm dying. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday night. We are the Sports Hounds exclusively on a2dradio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby's producing the show per usual. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and Instagram. Miss anything here at A2D Radio, download us, podcast form, wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk. Like, subscribe, share. It's free to subscribe, share, and support. National show. We got a big baseball show planned. I got my newly acquired Devontae Smith jersey on. We'll touch on the NFL, some Julio Jones news, react to the schedule a little bit. Knicks, Sixers get it done yesterday. Knicks, a little bit of a heartbreaker. I don't know what the Jazz are doing out there in Utah, thinking they can just concede playoff games by sitting Donovan Mitchell, but I guess that's the new NBA. We'll talk about that. Brad, we got some NHL. The Blues have been eliminated. Avalanche with the sweep.
And the Capitals.
The Capitals, I mean, you got to be impressed with what Boston's doing right now. I mean,
well, the Big Ape is out. Oh, excuse me, the Great Ape. The Great Ape.
The Great Ape. Mr.
Ape, not ape.
That's the Alexander Ovechkin talk, yes. I'm assuming.
Yes. We know Ovechkin since he's the one that got Putin on Panarin, so screw him too.
But yeah, I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they can close out the Florida Panthers tonight. We got.
I told
Toronto.
You to watch out for them. I mean, they're looking as good as ever in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Golden Knights on the verge of advancing. The Oilers falling short yet again. We'll talk about the NHL playoffs, but we're going to start with baseball. It's been a couple weeks since we've been with you. A little vacation week last week. We got Phillies, Marlins, 1-1. Yankees are off. They're playing better. We're going to touch on them. But that brings us to our poll question. Of course, the Sports Hounds are brought to you each and every week by Specialized Physical Therapy. He's our doc. Make him yours too. Two convenient locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill. Check him out. Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc here at A2D Radio. Make him yours too. And our poll question each and every week brought to you by PhillyDrinkers.com. Get all your A2D Radio merchandise at PhillyDrinkers.com. Click on that A2D Radio collection. Support the takeover. Our poll question tonight, Brad, Phillies related. Joe Girardi is to blame for the Philly struggles. Hashtag disagree. Hashtag agree. Look, I don't want to fully blame.
Rob, you know what's funny? How many times have you heard me bitch about Girardi? Since we've been doing this show, I think I complained about him more than any other coach combined.
And this is since 2015 for those haven't been with us for the full time.
So now you guys got him. So
I mean, I don't want to put the guy on the hot seat or anything like that because this roster is flawed. But Brad, I feel like there's more there than
under 500, Rob. I mean, this is ridiculous.
That's a really nice play there. That's Gene Segura making a nice diving stop, saving a run. Phillies tied 1-1.
Mets and Rocks are scoreless. Blackman just made a great catch on
Brad's fantasy baseball hunting with the Austin Gomber start tonight in New York. Not a bad stream there, Mr. Brad, with all the Mets struggles.
Well, with their lineup the way it is, I mean, why not?
Yeah, struggling with injuries is what I mean. I mean, a lot of 3, 4, 5 are out for them.
Yeah, their lineup is decimated right now. So I mean,
getting back to Girardi, because you got Harper, who's a superstar. You have JT and Didi out with injury. which hurts your defense.
That hurts. That hurts.
Which hurts your defense tremendously. But Brett, I gotta there's more talent here than to be under 500.
They should I look at under 500, but that whole division right now is playing.
It's a mess. That's the only saving grace, and why I'm not in full blown panic mode, because the Braves haven't gotten there yet. The Mets are injured, and I don't think Washington's any good at all.
The Braves. I mean, just to put it in perspective, how bad the Braves are right now. The Braves lost 6 games in a row to Toronto, who just got swept and spanked by the Rays. I mean, what the heck is going on in your division with these teams?
I don't know. Everyone's hanging around, but that's why it gives me hope that with all the talent that this team has, perceived talent, at least I think they're talented. I've seen them all be talented individually in the past, but for whatever reason, they're not good as a team at all. And you have Neris, who's a disaster at the back end. But I mean, the rest of the bullpen has not been. I mean, it's not a good bullpen. But we talked about it in weeks past.
It's a lot better this year. A lot better with you. You have Alvarado and Coonrad, and hopefully Archie Bradley can give you another guy out there when he comes back. But it hasn't been the work. It's we talked about it. What team has a good bullpen? You can name them on one hand. I mean, the Rays do their thing down there in Tampa. We'll talk about them when we hit the American League. They win their 12th straight today against the Blue Jays this afternoon. Very entertaining baseball game. But they just keep on ticking. They just throw whatever arms out there with their goofy analytics and the starters and piecing it together for 162 games, and it works for them. I would say the Padres out in San Diego, they have an elite bullpen. And I would say your Yankees have an elite bullpen. After that, nobody really has an elite bullpen. And they'll be getting help because right now, I mean, they're missing Zach Britton, and they're missing the yellow submarine. What's his name? The guy O'Day. They're missing him too. So, I mean, they're even missing a couple of guys, and it doesn't seem to matter. By the way, have you noticed the Yankees pitching?
Yeah, I mean, Herman.
35 consecutive scoreless innings. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a team do that. That's just remarkable from 5 different guys. I mean, yeah, you see usually maybe 1 or 2 pitchers be red hot at the same time, but it's very unusual to have five pitchers be red hot at the same time. That's
and it's the icing on that cake is the no hitter from Corey Kluber. What's there been 6 no hitters already?
Yeah, listen, when he, I think I told you about that. In
he approached. You did, and I said, "Way to jinx him," and he ended up doing it despite the jinx.
I don't believe in the jinx. I think the guys in the dugout don't want to jinx him, but I don't believe in that. You know, it's hard to get a no hitter. It's not easy, and it's
apparently not anymore.
The later in the game, the harder it is to keep it.
But I mean, the approach to hitting is it's a joke.
It's a mess.
Launch angle, the analytics, the launch angle, it's a total joke. It's ruining the game. It's making baseball a computer-based game rather than an athlete-based game. What happened to see the ball hit the ball? What happened to taking the extra base, being aggressive, making the defense make a play? I'd be running all over the Phillies. They can't make a play to save their life. I don't understand how a Major League Baseball team can be this fundamentally unsound in the field. And you have you don't have a bunch of butchers, at least on paper.
But you're missing. You're also missing 2. Right now, you're missing 2 supremely.
Yeah, but even with those guys healthy, they've been awful defensively. They've been awful defensively all year, not just because JT and Didi are on the DL.
Well, your first baseman's not a very good first baseman.
Bohm.
Your third baseman can hit, but he's not a great fielder. And you have a big hole. You had a big hole in center field, but it seems like Herrera's coming around a little bit.
Well, he's hitting, but he's still a knucklehead.
Yeah, but at least you're getting some offense out of him.
Yeah, because we couldn't go much longer without anything from your center fielder.
Yeah.
So I look at this, and there's Jazz Chisholm making a throwing error on the shift. Andrew McCutcheon on first. But like in this game, you go up 1-0 on a really good pitcher, really good up and coming pitcher for the Marlins and Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, he's tough. He is tough.
And then there's Chisholm just lackadaisically throwing the ball a mile wide. Jesus Aguilar over at first.
By the way, McMahon just hit a home run for the Rockies, and they take a 1-0 lead over the Mets.
Well, good. So now you're at the top of the order. It's 1-1 here, but you get, Brad Miller does a great job running the bases, getting around, making it a 1-0 against a good pitcher in Trevor Rogers. Then you go out, and, you're just making a comedy of errors in the field yet again. So, I have to look at this. How is a team of perceived good individuals like this Phillies team so bad and so fundamentally unsound as they are? And for that, I have to look at approach and coaching. So, the players still got to play. And nothing trumps that. A manager can't make a guy go out there and play. He's still got the bat in his hand. But when I look at the approach and the bad defense, I don't know. I'm starting to put my eye on Joe. He's starting to garner some attention from not only me, but the Philadelphia Phillies fan base, that maybe he's not as good as we all thought. And maybe he's not the guy to lead this collection of individual talent.
Here's my question.
To the playoffs as a team. He's not doing it. He's failing as a manager right now. I think Joe Girardi is failing as a manager.
What has he done? What, as far as X's and O's, what has he done? A lot of things wrong. I mean,
X's and O's. It took him forever. It took him forever to get Hoskins out of the 2-hole. His double switches are baffling at times. And, I don't know. He seems like he'd be a player's manager because he used to play. And catchers, for the most part, usually make decent managers. But,
he's very one thing about Joe. He's very stubborn. And, he carries his binders around with him all the time. And, he's always right. That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem why Cashman let him go, because Joe's stubborn and it's always Joe's way. And he's always likes to play certain guys who you might perceive as not very good. And then you wonder why he's constantly putting them in the lineup. Neil Walker, when he was with the Yankees, was an awful player. And he always managed to find a way to get him into almost every game, which you remember me complaining about Neil Walker all the time. I'm sure, because
big time.
His pitching moves, bringing in, if you're down 1 run, he'd bring in the worst pitcher on the team, and all of a sudden you'd be down 5 or 6 runs, and you'd be like, "Why are you bringing this guy in? Why would you bring this guy into a close game? I'm not saying use your best relief pitcher, but use one of your better ones to keep the game close. Instead of trying to squeeze some juice out of somebody who's horrible. But that was one of his bad habits. And Boone does the same thing, which drives me nuts. Yesterday, bringing in Wandy Peralta in an inning when Jose Abreu's up. Come on, are you kidding me? Here's a guy who throws a sinker and likes to throw the ball down, okay? And Jose Abreu might be the best low ball right-handed hitter in baseball right now. And what do you think happened? 440 feet later.
Yeah, I saw the video on Bleacher Report.
Yeah, you sit there and you're like, what the heck? Why? If you want to bring in a lefty, at least bring in Justin Wilson. He likes to throw high fastballs. Why would you bring in a sinker ball pitcher who doesn't throw more than 90 miles an hour? That made no sense.
Speaking of bad defense, there's just bad defense all over the place in this Phillies-Marlins game right here. I know you have the Mets on.
By the way, the Mets are now The Mets are now down 2-0. Another home run for the Rockies.
What a shame. What a shame. That's that's one thing we have in common.
Don't you hate to see it?
Hate the Cowboys, hate the Mets.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there's just a comedy of fielding errors in this Phillies Marlins game. I know you can't assume a double play, but that's about as tailor-made as it gets for those watching the Marlins and the Phillies. And the Marlins, I think it was Chisholm again with a bad throw. So Philly's still alive. Hoskins is up in there. See, now I like to see that. Gene Segura steals a base. Rogers has been a little slow to the plate all night. Gene Segura is a pretty fast runner. So, that's the kind of stuff I like from Joe G, which Gabe would have never done. And I hate to bring up Gabe, but he's got a really not so good roster there in San Francisco, nowhere near the talent that the Phillies have. And for my money, they're a top 5 team in baseball right now. And the other thing that I will say about Joe G that he's done.
The way they got hammered this weekend by the Dodgers, I'm not sure we can go there
anymore. So far, based on what I've seen, the Giants have had a tremendous 7 to 8 week start to the season.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna stay there though. I would be shocked.
But I mean, as far as the poll goes, I mean, I'm gonna disagree for now. But right now, I got Joe G under a microscope, and I like that he runs. I like that they just stole there, try and get the guy in a runner in scoring position for your cleanup hitter, Rhys Hoskins, with 2 outs, and it pays off. Rhys Hoskins smokes. See, that's great, aggressive base running with 2 outs. They get Gene Segura in scoring position, and Rhys Hoskins smacks a double off the fence. Phillies take a 2-1 lead. That's great baseball. That's the kind of baseball that I want to see. That's the kind of managing I want to see. I don't want to see these goofy double switches at the end of games, and I don't want to see this bad defense. And like I said, players got to play because Joe G got on Gene Segura in the Toronto game a couple Sundays ago. He dropped he was being lazy on a pop fly, and it ended up hitting the ground, and Joe G let Gene Segura know about it, and they got an argument in the dugout. And so that's the kind of stuff that I would never see from Gabe, that I see from Joe G that I like. But you can't be under 500 with this team. I understand it's a flawed roster to some extent.
Yeah, but I think you've got a legitimate ace in Zach Wheeler. Okay, Nola, I just don't know with him. Some games he looks like he could beat anybody on any given night, and then other games he just looks very average. It's very strange, very strange.
He's unpredictable and unreliable. He's not an ace. He's not the best pitcher on the team. Sorry. I know people love him. I love people want to put on their Phillies goggles because we drafted him and he was a first-round pick, and that's all fine and good, but this guy's not an ace. Aaron Nola is unpredictable, unreliable. He can't pitch on the road.
He'd be better served as a number 3, in my opinion. If you put him as a number
2, 3, yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, Zach Wheeler, to me, is an ace. I mean, yesterday I said to myself, when they were playing the Red Sox, I said to myself, when I saw it was Rodriguez against Wheeler, I said to myself, the Phillies should win this matchup because Rodriguez has not been very good and Wheeler is really good. And you know what? It's common sense. And you look at when Wheeler pitches, the Phillies look like a different team, right? They seem to hit too.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's amazing how when you get pretty good pitching, your team seems to hit. Your team always seems to hit better.
I mean, Zach Wheeler is a Cy Young candidate. Aaron Nola is nowhere near an All-Star or a Cy Young candidate or anything of the nature.
No,
not even close. Not even in the vicinity. Not even in the ballpark. And I hate to say that. Tell the Phillies fans I told them so, but I told them so.
You've been saying that for 2 years now. You've been saying that since last year.
And what did I say before the season? I said 2 players needed to step up if this team wanted to win 90 games and go to the postseason. Aaron Nola and Rhys Hoskins. While Rhys Hoskins, I mean,
Rhys Hoskins had a pretty good year. He's doing okay. He's not.
He needs to find the balance of plate discipline and trying to drive the baseball because he's got to walk a little more, but he can't go up there looking for a walk. And Aaron Nola has nowhere close to my expectations. If you're talking about Aaron Nola as an ace, he should lace up his cleats and he should be a top 5 Cy Young candidate. Far from the case. Aaron Nola or Zach Wheeler is a Cy Young candidate. He is an all-star. He laces up his cleats. You're getting 7 from him. You're getting a quality start, and you're getting a chance to win the game. Nola, I have no idea what Aaron Nola is going to show up as you spoke to. And I know he's not going to pitch good on the road because he hasn't done that in 3 years. So I get, like, love your own, and he's your guy, and he's on our team, but Phillies fans need to come to the realization that Aaron Nola is not an ace. He's not a number 1 pitcher on a staff. You're going nowhere, absolutely nowhere, if Aaron Nola is your number 1 pitcher. And even I'm disappointed because if you told me that Zach Eflin was going to be having the season he had and Vince Velasquez was going to be having the season he had, I would say the Phillies would be running away with this division.
They should be the way the rest of the division. Although, in all fairness to the Mets right now, they're beat up.
Well, that's not the Phillies' fault.
But you know what? The Phillies are beat up too. You have 2 key injuries. I mean, 2 of your key best defensive players are out. I mean, you got the best catcher in baseball out. Okay, and Didi Gregorius is the basically the glue of your infield, and he's out. So I mean, those are 2 pretty significant injuries as well.
I don't think Didi Gregorius is going to be back for a while. I just cringe every time I read a new report. It sounds nothing good.
No, and he was never really injured when he was with the Yankees, but he is getting a little older now.
I mean, so Phillies up 2-1. You got Eflin on the hill against Trevor Rogers. Pretty good pitching matchup based on the statistics. Jazz Chisholm's at the dish. There's been bad defense galore, which is nothing new for a Phillies game. But thankfully, there's been some bad defense by the Miami Marlins, too. So the Phillies are up 2-1. Bottom 3. Full count to Jazz Chisholm. We'll keep you updated. Let's get to some comments here. Tom Arnone's in the house. Roscoe wants Alexander Ovechkin traded to the Coyotes.
To the Coyotes.
Is that supposed to be punishment because they lost?
He's a free agent, by the way, so you don't have to get him in a trade. If the Capitals don't sign him, which I think they will, but if they don't sign him and they move on, which they really should, the Capitals have now been knocked out of the playoffs in the first round. 3 years since they won the Stanley Cup, they haven't gotten out of the first round. I
mean, they've underachieved except for the 1 year. They've underachieved greatly in the playoffs with Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, Ovechkin's a great player, and I don't want to.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you that he's not. He's a great player, but you know what? The thing with Ovechkin is that he doesn't go in front of the net enough. I mean, you'd like to see him score more dirty goals. I mean, he's always standing in his office on the left wing at the top of the faceoff circle, doing the one-timers and doing the one-timers. He doesn't score a lot of goals like that, but a guy like him with his size, I mean, I'd be imploring the guy to stand in front of the net because, I mean, even if he doesn't score, he's going to screen the goalie a lot, and he's just going to create so much problem in front of the net. I mean, I don't know. I've never understood with him why he doesn't do that more. I can understand on the power play why he's not, because he's got such a great shot. But you know what? It shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't. Yeah, I fail to understand that, but I'm glad to see it because you know what, that's a dirty team, and you know what, they deserve what they got. And I told you Boston was going to be good this year. By the way, I mean, just because they lost Torrey Krug didn't mean anything. They got a lot of good young defensemen on that team, and the Taylor Hall acquisition was really a good acquisition for them. I mean, you know what, I guarantee you, Boston will re-sign him because he loves it there, and he makes that team a different team.
Yeah, and I really like the Bruins to advance.
Coyotes have no chance to get him. I would think that if he's going to go anywhere other than the Capitals, or if the Capitals trade him, I would think that they would be trading him to the Kings. I think the Kings have more young talent. They have even more young talent than the Rangers do, believe it or not. And not to mention the fact that they're not going to do business with the Rangers because the Rangers are in the same division as them. But if he's going to go anywhere,
that'd be interesting. Ovechkin finish out his career in a big market like LA.
Yeah, that's where I think he's going.
Emilio.
The Kings have a habit of bringing in guys like that. I mean, if you want to go all the way back to the 70s with Marcel Dion, and then later Wayne Gretzky. I mean, they seem to have a habit of bringing in these kind of guys. So don't be surprised.
Emilio DeCiccio, in regards to Joe Girardi, he's a good coach, but it's terrible fifth highest payroll for a terrible team. Harper's the most overrated player in the league. I don't know what's he got to hit 600 with 500 home runs in a season for fans to get off his back. What about Bryce Harper is overrated? The answer is nothing.
I think Bryce Harper is very good. I think he's a really, really good player. I mean, I don't know that he's overrated. I mean, what? Because he doesn't hit 50 home runs a year, he's overrated? Is that the issue?
I don't know what Emilio's issue with him. He's clearly not watching the games if he thinks that the Phillies' problems are with Bryce Harper.
He hasn't had. Is he having a great season right now? No, he's been in a bit of a slump, but I mean, he'll snap out of it.
See, look, that play right there, for those watching the Phillies games, I mean, that's a hard hit ball to the corner, but I feel like a left fielder with some spring in his step and some athleticism who isn't shot out, overrated, and washed up like Andrew McCutchen is, making $16 million a year, makes that play. Like, I mean, this is hit on the screws. I get it. But he gets a bad first jump. He's not athletic enough, and the ball gets by him.
Yeah, I mean, he's old. I mean, that
ball's in the air. That ball's in the air a long time, and I didn't notice where the outfield was aligned, but that ball is in the air for a long time, and it's not down the line, so it's gettable for a average defender in left field. That's an out. And now the game's tied at 2. Adam Duvall's up. I mean, look, you got to make that play. Andrew McCutchen has to make that play. Winning teams make that play. It's just atrocious, this defense on this team. It's absolutely atrocious.
But again, are you going to blame Girardi for that? Girardi's not the one who put this team.
No, I said I disagreed to my poll question, but like,
see, I don't necessarily know that it's all. Listen, Girardi at times he'll make you scratch your head. Okay, but I'll say this about Girardi. Okay, and I'm going to go back to his Yankee days. Okay, look at Gary Sanchez right now. Okay, what would you say about what word would you describe Gary Sanchez? Okay.
I mean, I've always thought Gary Sanchez was overrated by the Yankee fan base and a pretty average player.
Wow. Listen, when you're hitting 30, 34, 35 home runs a season and driving in 70 to 80 runs from behind the plate, that's pretty daggone good. But you know what? Since Girardi left and Boone's taken over, he's gone steadily downhill. And I think he was good with Boone there. With Girardi there, because Girardi kept his thumb on top of him and kept the pressure on him. And I think there's something to that. Girardi didn't let Sanchez get away with the lazy crap that he pulls, not running out balls and ground balls. Not running when there's a wild pitch, not running after the ball. And I mean, the way he goes after foul pop-ups, I mean, every play is an adventure with him. So I I don't think Joe is so bad. I think the problem with the Phillies is you guys let Clentak run that organization way too long. He brought in a lot of older players, and quite frankly, it just doesn't seem to work out with him, with the guys he brought in. A lot of these guys, especially the guys he got from the Yankees. I mean, when the Yankees get rid of somebody, there's a reason why they don't keep certain guys. You know, I mean, Didi Gregorius was the obvious exception. They just didn't have room for him. You know, and I mean, it really came down to either keeping him or keeping Gleyber Torres. And I mean, financially,
you gotta keep the.
Financially, you have to keep Gleyber because you're not even paying Gleyber $1 million. You know, and Gleyber has a lot of ability. And by the way, Gleyber's been red hot. Gleyber's up to like.
Well, it's only a matter of time for him at the dish.
Yeah, I mean,
I question his defense. We've had Ron Bloomberg, the first ever DH, close follower of the Yankees, come on and say he's unsure about Gleyber Torres' defense short. So offensively, I have no beef with Gleyber Torres.
He is playing better at shortstop right now than he. I mean, he was atrocious last year, and this year at the beginning of the season he wasn't bad. But I mean, what a lot of us didn't know is he had COVID in December, and that affected him. He was very sick. Came back, was not the same early in the year, and you know nobody bothers to mention that. And you know us fans, we don't know. We just see him struggling the same way he did last year until the playoffs, and you know none of us knew. But then you know, he seems to be feeling better, and now they're playing real good ball. How do you like sweeping the White Sox? That's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Bryce Harper's stats this year. 25 runs, 37 hits, 7 home runs, only 13 RBIs, too many solo shots. But that's because everyone strikes out around them. The Phillies strike out way too much as a team. It's another problem I have with their coaching. Like, you can't strike out this much. You got to teach these guys to see the ball, hit the ball.
Is he getting his walks, though?
Yeah, his on-base percentage is .395. So the only thing, average is .274. His OPS is .884.
The problem is they're not pitching to him.
He's also hurt. He's a little nicked up right now, so he hasn't been in the lineup. I don't think he played at all against the Boston Red Sox over the weekend, and he's not in the lineup again tonight. So maybe he's going to have to go on the IL. I don't know. Maybe we'll see him. Maybe we'll see him later in the week. I'm not sure.
Maybe as a pinch hitter.
They just showed him on the bench, and he looks chilling. I don't think he's based on what I've seen.
Well, I
on the bench.
I wouldn't worry that much about him. You know what you're going to get out of him.
If you think Bryce Harper's the problem with the Phillies, you're out of your mind.
Nah,
you're out of your mind.
He's not the problem.
I don't even know what you're due because like we have Dave Dombrowski, who like is an aggressive baseball GM as opposed to Clentak, who's just a big dork and a big idiot, who I hated. And then he brings in Gabe, who's just a big dork and a big idiot that I hated. And, you know, he's got – I don't even know what you do. Because, like, you need a new left fielder. You need a center fielder. You know, Gene Segura is just not a hustler. Rhys Hoskins is terrible. Defensively, I'm talking about. Defensively, Rhys Hoskins is no great shakes over at first base. And I don't think Alec Boehm can play third at the big league level. Like, you need a vacuum over there at third base if you're gonna win a championship. I mean, who the Yankees playing at third right now? Gio Urshela?
Yeah, Gio Urshela is an outstanding defensive player.
Terrific fielder. Look at all the good teams. Manny Machado out in San Diego, terrific fielder. Justin Turner out in Los Angeles, he's a terrific fielder. Plus they mash too, which is essential in the National League.
Yeah, Evers over in Boston.
Very good defensive third baseman.
Oh yeah, outstanding, and of course the gold standard for defensive third baseman, one of the best ever that I've seen, other than Brooks Robinson, is Arenado. I mean, defensively, he's unbelievable, and he's a pretty darn good hitter too. Yeah, so I mean. And Boehm, it's not helping. They say his average is down to 218. He's in a tremendous slump. I don't know what's going on with that. He's at least shown in the past that he's way better than that.
So now you're not now you're back now your center field woes. You kind of got that figured out with Herrera, even though he's a butcher out there in center field. He's a total knucklehead. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. Now you're getting nothing offensively or defensively from your third baseman, which can't happen in the National League. You don't have a high paid DH to make up for this.
No, that's the problem in the National League. I mean,
the Phillies desperately need for there to be a Phillies need a DH. The Phillies need a DH. They'd make Hoskins a DH.
They'd be a lot better off if they could find one. If they were in the American League with a DH for sure.
Yeah, because then you put Bohm at first, and you DH Hoskins.
Right, absolutely. And then when you want to rest JT, you can let him DH. So I mean, that's kind of.
Andrew Knapp has been a pleasant surprise for this baseball team. He handles the staff very well. All the guys seem to really like. Not that JT is bad at it because he's a tremendous player, but it seems like especially these starting pitchers, they've really taken a liking to the way Knapp handles things behind the plate. So I don't know if a DH were to be introduced, you got JT on that long, big contract. Maybe you get him some time at first base. Because Knapp has been really a pretty good backup catcher. I mean, he's hitting 165. I think he's hitting 165, but defensively and the way he handles the staff,
Well, I mean, if you
impressed.
A backup catcher, you just want to make sure that he can catch the ball and that he does everything he's supposed to do defensively. I mean, that's all you really ask for from a backup catcher. I mean, you happen to be fortunate because you have a catcher who can do it all. He can hit like hell and he's a great defender. I mean, that's rare with catchers, as you know.
But yeah, Emilio, I would like you to expand on your point and tell me why you think that Bryce Harper is overrated. I don't understand it.
Nah, he's pretty solid. I mean, I don't think Bryce Harper is the problem right now. It just seems to me that they should be scoring a lot more runs. You know what?
They strike out too much. They strike out way too much.
They got to put the ball in play more. Yeah, I mean listen, the Yankees had that problem early in the season too. Now the home runs aren't coming, but they seem to be just trying to outdo the shifts now. I mean, it's crazy, but you're seeing Judge hit a lot of ground balls to right field and take the singles when the home runs aren't available. With the pitches, you're seeing the same thing with Torres now. The only Yankee we need to really get going is Voit. But I mean, Voit has an excuse. He hasn't played all season.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah, he didn't have a spring training to hit. So I mean, I can't blame him for that. But sometimes a lot of these guys just take a little while to get going offensively. I mean, that's just a known fact. I mean, look at Christian Yelich. Who would have expected him to have one home run at this point of the season?
Now his back is shot.
Well, that was yesterday. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but I mean, even so, he's played 14 games this year, and he just hit his first home run yesterday. So I mean, it sometimes guys do get off to slow starts, and it takes them a while to get going. Now, here's a question for you, Rob, because there's going to be the trade deadline will come a lot sooner than people think. It always seems to sneak up on you. But there are a couple of teams right now who, can trade off some pieces who really, really could help other teams. You look at one team in particular, the Minnesota Twins. Okay, Byron Buxton. I know he's hurt right now, but he'll be back. And Max Kepler. These are two guys that almost certainly, especially Buxton, they're not going to pay him. Because he's going to be a free agent. I'm sure they're going to probably look to trade him. That would be a guy the Phillies should definitely look at. I mean, he would really solve a lot of your problems. Not only is he
Buxton, the center fielder. Yeah, I mean,
brilliant.
He's an all-world defender.
He also can hit. He proved that the last couple of years. He can hit, and I mean he'd be a huge upgrade on your team. So would Kepler, actually. You put Kepler in left field. I mean,
I'm on board with anything.
I know he's off to a slow start in Minnesota. Okay, but you change the dimensions. That's a very difficult park to hit home runs. You put him in Philadelphia. We have a big left-handed hitter in Philadelphia. I think he'd be an excellent piece. I'll tell you what, I would not mind seeing him in New York either. Max Kepler.
I like Kepler. I like Buxton, obviously, as well. Look, Brad, I'm down for anything that gets Andrew McCutchen out of it.
Yeah, I think
I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch, and he's a cool guy. Like he's got a lot of personality. Seems to be really good for the clubhouse, but the guy is shot. I mean,
he's
that fly ball in the last half inning that he couldn't get to, that play has to be made.
He's the kind of guy.
I know it's not a routine fly ball, Brad, but I mean, you got to make that play. You got to keep that run off the board.
He's a fourth outfielder at this point. That's the problem with him.
I totally agree. I think
he'd be good if you play him maybe twice or three times a week. But you play him every day. He's not. He's gonna get tired. He's not one of these guys. He got old at a young age. McCutchen. It seems like as soon as he turned.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he tear his ACL twice? I know he tore it once as a Philly.
Well, he tore it in Pittsburgh too, didn't he?
Right.
So
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really. He's never really been right. I mean, he had that one year when he won the MVP and was absolutely unbelievable.
Right. When the Pirates, they were good.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like he's ever recovered from that.
And then, I hate to say it because Reese seems like a really good guy too, a really good personality, a really good clubhouse guy. But if the right deal comes along to upgrade, my infield defense, and I got to move Reese Hoskins out, I'm doing it. Because look, you have Didi next, and hopefully Didi can come back soon. But Didi's here this year and next year. You're on the hook for him. You sign him to the $14, $15 million contract, whatever it was.
If he plays, you're not going to have any problem with him. He's an outstanding glove.
Correct. So I have that. And Segura,
Segura's not a problem. He's not the problem.
It's second base, and he can turn a double play, and he's athletic enough. He's also one of the only guys that him and Harper, I guess you could throw JT in there too, that actually put together solid at-bats.
I think Odubel gives you solid at-bats too.
He has hit the ball, yes. I
mean, that's the thing. Yeah, does he make some really stupid plays in the outfield? Yeah, he does. I mean, that's the other side of it. But I mean, you're right now you are supposed to be hitting the ball. He
does make mental mistakes, but if he could not be a knucklehead reading the ball off the bat, he would make life a lot easier on himself because he's a good athlete and he covers ground out there in center field. So if he's going to hit like this and, do his thing as an athlete in the field, I have no problem with Odubel Herrera in center field for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty solid. I wouldn't worry about it.
And if you still have a problem about him being allowed to get a second chance because of his domestic dispute problems, I know that's bad and domestic dispute is nothing to joke about. And it's serious, but, I mean, grow up. He solidified center field for you. Everyone makes mistakes.
He
did his time. Like if Michael Vick's allowed to play football again, then Odubel Herrera is certainly allowed to play center field.
And if Domingo Germán is allowed to pitch for the Yankees,
another good point.
I mean, and look at how well Domingo Germán has pitched this year.
He's been tremendous.
Yeah, he's pitching 6 to 7 innings every game again.
He's getting quality starts. They're scoring runs for him. He's picking up wins. He's not. All the Yankees need with that lineup that pitching staff had. The starter just has to go out there and keep the train on the tracks.
Well,
it's
not that they have a very strong bullpen. If you can get 5 to 6 innings out of your starter, they're going to win most of their games. It's when the guys get knocked out early, then they're screwed. I think the Mets just lost their center fielder now. The Rockies just scored, I think, 2 runs. Oh my goodness gracious! Whoever their center fielder is, and I don't know. He's somebody that's playing in place of Nemo, but he ran into the fence trying to catch a ball, and his shoulder is. I think he threw his shoulder out because he's like, oh my gosh, wow, Vargas, some guy by the name of Vargas. I mean, he ran into that center field wall. I mean, full speed trying to catch a fly ball.
Tom Arnone, Phillies need to take 3 of 4 this week. That'd be nice, but they're on the road and they're playing the Marlins. 2 things that just don't mix if you're the Phillies. They stink against the Marlins and they stink on the road, but I'm all for taking through 3 of 4.
Well, they certainly
You're still right in this division. I don't know what Atlanta's doing, why they're scuffling so badly with all that talent, but
well, I'll tell you what, Rob. When they this is going to be a very tough week for Atlanta. I mean, they're playing in Boston the next 3 games, so don't expect it to get any better this week for them. Yeah. Oh, if they just show the replay of the center fielder on the Mets crashing into that wall. Holy smokes, did he hit that wall hard.
Look at the standings. The Mets are still in first place. The Braves and Phillies are 23 and 24. Mets are at 21 and 19. They're 1.5 games out.
Well, the Mets are going to probably lose tonight because it's now 3-0, and the Rockies have a runner on third.
What inning is it?
It's the top of the 4th.
Look, there's still time. I'm not ready to crown them as losers yet tonight.
Yeah, but the Mets, the Mets lineup right now, Rob, is just he's actually going to stay in the game. Holy smokes, that guy is tough. They're just they just flashed something up here. The Mets have 16 players on the injured list. 7 of their opening 9, opening day. 7 of their 9 opening day starters are on the injured list right now.
Yeah, headlined by one of the best pitchers I've ever seen, Jacob deGrom.
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
Yeah, well, no, he's supposed to be back tomorrow night, from what I understand.
Yeah, but he came back from the last time and he threw 5 innings and had to go out again. So we'll see.
That's true.
Val CFE score for the Phillies Marlins 2-2, bottom 4. Eflin's on the hill. Eflin's already got 70 pitches. He's not even through 4 innings yet. So not his best start in terms of efficiency. But, I mean, we'll see. Tom Arnone, this ain't on Joe yet. I mean, I disagree to the poll as well, and I hear where you're coming from. But, I mean, there's a lot of individual stars on this team. There's a lot of proven 162-game players on this Phillies roster.
They should be better.
You had Harper, JT, Didi, Gene Segura.
Well, if Harper,
Noah Wheeler,
if Harper is banged up and can't play every day right now, and you don't have Didi and you don't have Real Muto, that kind of really challenges your offense. I mean, I don't care what kind of a minor league system you have. That's tough. That's pretty tough to. I mean, it's kind of like the same deal with the Mets. I mean, their lineup is like a AAA lineup right now. And
maybe I should just keep talking shit on Gene Segura and how he's a lazy fielder and can't make plays. That's the second web gem he's had tonight. Just a ball blistered in the hole. Gene Segura makes a diving play and gets the out at first. If he can do that and hit 330, which he's capable of doing, I've seen him do it. It just adds to the talent and the fact of how bad it's underachieving here in Philadelphia. This is 90-win talent. I think this is 90-win talent. And I watch them every night at 7:05. They're nowhere close to a 90-win team. So at what point do I start looking at the manager and the coaching staff? I'm close, but I'm not there yet. So I agree with Tommy.
Right now, I think it's kind of on your general manager to make a few tweaks to the team.
Well, I don't like waiting. I mean, this team needs to be tweaked now, not at when's the trade deadline? July?
No, I agree. I agree with you about that. There's no reason why you can't make a baseball trade right now. I mean, look at the big trade between the Marlins and the Brewers. In case anybody hasn't heard, Willie Adames was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. The Marlins, the Rays shortstop.
The Rays, you mean? Okay, I got confused there.
The Rays shortstop Willie Adames traded to the Brewers for JP Frelinghuysen. Is that how they?
Yeah, not too. But I mean, that's smart of the Rays because they have Wander Franco who's going to be the.
Well, he's not even the one that's playing short now. They brought in another guy.
What's his name? Brujan or whatever, Vidal Brujan.
That's the center fielder.
He's a center fielder.
It starts with a T. I just can't remember his name, but he's.
What they put Wander at second.
I suppose the problem. Well, no, they have Joey Wendell is third baseman for them, right?
I don't know.
I believe he had a grand slam today. That guy's a pest.
Yeah, I had the Jays, so I was financially invested in that game on my day off.
Well, you know what? The Jays came all the way back.
They did.
5-0, and then their bullpen in the extra innings. I mean, Stripling comes in and just is brilliant for 7 innings. And then their bullpen just blew it in the 8th, blew it in the 9th. I mean, and then gave up 7 runs in the 10th or the 11th, something like that. It was just a joke because.
And I'm over this runner on second and extra inning stuff.
No, I think it's ridiculous.
I'm over it. Yeah, I liked it for a while. I'm over it.
I also can't stand the three batter rule with the relievers. I mean, I hate that rule. I think that's the stupidest rule I've ever seen. Another Manfred rule to speed up the game. The games are not speeded up, okay? Because all that ends up happening is when these guys come in, you know. I mean, what game was it that a guy came in and then hit 2 batters in a row, and then you got to and then he has to pitch to the third guy. I mean, what kind of ridiculous is that? This is that. I mean, you know, the manager wants it. I think it was the Cardinals. I think it was the Cardinal game, right? Wasn't it against the Cardinals? It was against the Cardinals. I just can't remember.
Are you talking about a Phillies game?
Was it a Philly that hit 2 Cardinals in a row?
No, the Cardinals guy hit.
The Cardinals hit the Phillies guy, two guys in a row.
I think
right?
He hit Bryce and then he hit Didi. He hit Bryce in the face.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And because of Manfred and the stupid rule. You can't take the guy out. I mean, I'm sure the Phillies. And it was the Phillies because Joe Girardi got thrown out because the Phillies got a warning after the second guy in a row got hit.
And now you got no shot, and you take away the whole inside of the plate.
Right. I mean, first of all, you know what? These guys, these guys are so worried about the fans getting bored. Because they're making too many pitching changes. Trust me, that's not the problem, okay? The problem is that the hitters are all striking out because they're all going for the fences instead of trying to just be good hitters. That's the problem. Okay? You don't have any ground ball pitchers anymore. Everybody's trying to strike everybody out. So therefore, you get 100 pitchers. These guys throw 100 pitches in 5 to 6 innings. Because they're always trying to strike everybody out instead of trying to throw ground balls. I mean that's the problem. That's the problem with baseball.
Don 19 checking in from Detroit. He's happy the Capitals lost early because the Detroit Red Wings have their draft pick. Thanks for checking in, Don. Greg Milakovic, I'm close to and a hashtag agree, but can't fully go there yet. He hasn't been good though himself. I think Greg just summed up everything I've been trying to say for the first 54 minutes of the show perfectly in the under 140 character tweet. Well put. Prism 280. Yeah, we'll get the hockey. We're gonna talk some hockey. We're gonna talk some basketball later, and I got my Devontae Smith jersey, so we'll talk some NFL. We'll talk some schedule and some Julio Jones stuff. Some Zach Ertz seems like he'll be traded now before June 1st. I would be shocked if he's still on the Eagles.
Speaking of Julio Jones, my opinion, you know where I think he might end up going?
I think he's going to go to the Patriots.
I think he's going to go to Green Bay. I think he's going to go to Green Bay just to shut Aaron Rodgers up, and then that'll be it. And then they'll say, okay, there's your receiver, shut the hell up, and go play. And play.
Aaron Rodgers isn't. I'm a little sick of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, everybody is.
I'm a little sick of him.
All I'm saying is, I think that would be a.
This woe is me nonsense every time he loses a big game is a little old.
Yeah, well, you know, he makes like
I don't have enough help. I mean, Devontae Adams, pretty good receiver. Aaron Jones, pretty good running back. They found that Robert Tonyan. He's turned out to be a pretty good tight end. They have a pretty good.
And that other receiver. They
have Scantling and they have
Scantling was pretty good this year. He wasn't bad.
Who's the other guy they had there? Lazard. He's not bad. There's certainly worse receiving corps in the NFL.
Well, they've got
the worst receiving corps ever, the Eagles.
They have one guy who, in my opinion, is close to being an All-Pro. So, you know, in Adams, I mean, Adams is really good. I mean. No question.
They've always put a solid offensive line in front of him, which I think he takes for granted. And you know, it's not like they're letting up a million points a game either. Decent defense. You don't go to the NFC You don't go to the NFC Championship that many times during his tenure without being able to get stops. Just doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm a little sick of Aaron Rodgers, and if he wants to be butthurt for the rest of his career because they decided to pick Jordan Love in the first round. I mean, whatever. Force a trade, sit out. I don't care. Go host Jeopardy. I don't care.
Cry when they picked Aaron Rodgers in the middle of his career?
Well, he's always been salty because he was drafted into that toxic Brett Favre retirement saga.
Yeah, well, too bad, you know. I mean, I'm just saying, but Brett Favre didn't complain when they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
No, because Brett Favre was just a country gunslinger who he didn't care.
Played his game. He did what he did, and you know, if Rodgers just did what he would take that kind of an attitude, he'd be in a much better place.
But I don't think Brett Favre took Aaron Rodgers under his wing by any means.
I don't think Brett Favre took anybody under his wing. He was one of those.
No, because he's had the exact mentality I would have had.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm not training. I'm not training you to take my job. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you want training?
That. Yeah, go away. Get away from me, kid.
Yeah, just like Montana and Steve.
So now that's how he's treating Jordan Love, which is fine. It's not Aaron Rodgers' job to develop Jordan Love into an all-pro quarterback, a franchise quarterback. That's the Matt LaFleur and the Packers coaching staff's job. So I hear him on that, but all this crying, woe is me bullshit that he keeps doing when he's had a good offensive line. He has Devontae Adams. He has Lazard and Scantling, who would be number one receivers by a mile on my Philadelphia Eagles. He has a pretty good tight end in Tonyan. And the defense has been above average for years there in Green Bay. So it's got to say, force a trade. He can go host Jeopardy. Aaron Rodgers can go host Jeopardy. I'm out on Aaron Rodgers.
They picked off Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Tom Brady in the championship game 3 times in a row. And 4 times altogether. But remember, 3 series in a row they picked off.
I remember.
And Rodgers couldn't do a darn thing with it. So I mean, whose fault is that?
Is that Matt LaFleur's fault? Is that I can't think of it. I see his face in my head, the Packers GM, but I can't remember his name right now. No. If your defense gets 4 turnovers in a championship game and you have Aaron Rodgers and you lose the game, and then Aaron Rodgers wants to cry, woe is me, that he doesn't have enough help, that's not how it works, Aaron. It's not how it works. And I hear you. I mean, I wouldn't have picked Jordan Love in the first round if I were the Green Bay Packers.
Well, last couple of years they've made some pretty questionable picks in the first round, but I mean it is what it is. You know,
I can't even recall who they picked this year.
Well, not last year, the year before they picked Love, they picked somebody who he didn't like either. So I mean, he hasn't been enamored with any of their draft picks.
Like, why should it? But I don't understand. Why are you going to seek Aaron Rodgers' help on who he thinks can help the football team win a championship when he's always unhappy? He's always wants out. He's always disgruntled. Like, why would you trust that guy? Oh, pick this guy, pay this guy. Don't pay this guy, and go get this guy over here. Oh yeah, by the way, I want to trade. So all the advice I gave you is bullshit because I'm unhappy. I'm a prima donna. I'm over Aaron Rodgers. I'm out on Aaron Rodgers. I'm out. I'll host Jeopardy. I'm sick of you. He got.
Same, by the way, same goes for Russ. A little tired of him too.
I think the media just made a mountain out of a molehill there.
I don't know. You know, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, you know, whatever. I'll tell you another team that would be an interest. I don't think.
Here's another play. It's a hard hit ball right at Reese Hoskins, a line drive. It bounces off his glove, and it's. I don't know if they're going to call it an error or an infield sinker. It was blistered, but you know, an average defensive first baseman makes that play. Look, he's off the line. It's right at him. Like, come on, dude. Like, that play has to be made. For those why I know you're not watching the Phillies game, but that play has to be made. We'll talk a little NFL. We're on this NFL tour. Don 19, I think Julio goes to Washington and Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver.
No, bite your tongue at Washington. I could see him going to New Orleans before he goes to Washington.
Well, you got to think that. Well, he boxed him in. Julio boxed him in today. Because I don't know if you caught it while you were at work. Shannon Sharp called him live on the air. Called Julio Jones on his cell phone on the show with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp.
Didn't see that, no.
So he called him live on the air. He answered. Shannon Sharp asked him. A little unprofessional by Shannon Sharp, if you ask me, because there's no way Julio Jones knew he was live on TV based on what he said. He didn't say anything bad or derogatory like that, but he said they asked him what's going on with him and the Falcons. He said he's out of there. And he said he didn't want to go to the Cowboys because he wants to win.
Oh!
So I don't think I don't think the man had a clue he was live on TV, but now the Falcons are boxed in. They were looking for a first-round pick before what happened today happened.
They're not going to get a first-round pick.
Now they're definitely not going to get a first-round pick.
Well, they weren't going to get one anyway. I mean, first, A, he's old, and B, with all the money he's making, you're not going to get a first-round pick for him.
You got to think he'll restructure. If he's serious about winning, you got to think he'll restructure when he's traded.
Yeah.
Or before he's traded.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the team that, to me, that would make the most sense might be New Orleans.
Well, he's got to get released. You got to think he would have to get released.
He might. I mean, who knows? You know, if he plays this, sometimes
but the cap hit. They're not going to release him because of the cap hit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but if they trade him a lot of time, I mean, I don't know what the situation is with the cap hits as far as when they get traded, because a lot of times when these guys get traded, you still. Well,
if he says he's out and he wants to win, I mean, for him to.
Well, I mean, listen,
make himself attractive to a contending team.
You can't blame.
He's got to make less money.
You can't blame him for wanting to win. I mean, he's he's put in a lot of years in Atlanta, a lot of years. So I mean, I'm
just saying, if he wants to, if he's serious, Brad, and wants to help his case to get out of there and go win, you're gonna have to restructure his contract.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I can tell you another place that I think he'd be that would be a good fit.
I think he's going to win. I think it's a done deal. He's going to be a Patriot.
Maybe Buffalo too.
Not a bad.
I mean, Buffalo's the kind of team that would probably fit his.
The Niners. The Niners also came to mind as well.
Yeah, but with a rookie quarterback though.
I think Jimmy G will start the season at least.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, I mean, listen, if you had a chance,
Just saying they got a bunch of small speedster receivers. Julio Jones is a certified animal.
You put him with Buffalo and have Diggs on one side, him on the other side. I mean, and don't forget you got Josh Allen as the quarterback who's got a big arm. I mean, boy, oh boy, that team would be hard to stop.
Don 19. He says the Chargers would be interesting with Herbert. Can't disagree with that either.
No, that's a very good team. The Chargers. I mean, they're just one of these years they're going to put it together. I mean, I don't know when, because they're just such a strange group, but there's a lot of talent on the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost called them San Diego. There's a lot of talent on that ball club, so I could see something possibly happening. Let's switch gears and get to
where you want to go?
Basketball.
Basketball?
Let's switch gears and go to basketball. I know you guys can't wait to talk about the 76ers, but I got to tell you though, Rob, it's not really a story for them if they win. The only story is if they, God forbid, if they
yes,
if they should be able to. I mean, at worst case, maybe they lose a game in Washington. Maybe Washington comes home and they they shoot the eyes out of the basket one night and get a win. I think that's possible for that to happen, but there's no way that they're not beating that team. They're not losing to that team in a 7-game series.
No, there's absolutely no excuse for losing a basketball game to the Washington Wizards.
I can see them losing one. Listen, they do have two elite players. I mean,
they have two elite players, yes, but I mean, neither one can do a damn thing when Ben Simmons is covering them. That's been the truth all season, not just in game one. And with Thomas Bryant on the shelf with a torn ACL, their starting center, they have absolutely nobody to stop Joel Embiid. I mean, Joel Embiid was throwing Robin Lopez around the paint like a rag doll the entirety of game one. So, I mean, I don't think you should sweep this basketball team. You're better than this basketball team. You're better. Doc's a better coach than Scott Brooks. You have better talent. You're just better. You're better in all facets, and you should sweep. Because I think that the Knicks and the Hawks, I think they're in for a long series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know about the Knicks beating the Hawks. Of course, I would like to see it happen. Just seems to me, you watch the players on the two teams. Just seems like the Hawks have more talent. Maybe I'm wrong. It just seems that they do. I mean, that's a pretty good team, the Hawks. It's not like they didn't get there. They didn't get there by accident, And I mean, neither did the Knicks. The Knicks played well. I mean, they earned what they got. They won a lot of big games, especially on the road, especially towards the end of the season. I mean, they deserve their standing. But one miss with the Knicks. A lot of these guys. This is a first series, a first playoff for a lot of these guys, and I think that a lot of them kind of got caught up in it, especially in the first half. Especially the Knicks in the first half. I mean, they looked terrible in the first half. And then they got it rolling, and they had a chance to win that game, but they just couldn't stop. They couldn't stop that Trae Young guy, and Collins is pretty damn good too. I mean, that's a tough matchup for them. It really is. They have a lot of offensive talent. The one thing the Knicks aren't good at is, they're not a great offensive team. They have one really, really good offensive player in Randall, who had a bad game, didn't shoot the ball well. Alex Burks basically bailed him out. They got some nice shooting in there from Rose and quickly, and they were able to hang in there, and they had a chance to win the game. I mean, they're ahead with a minute to go, and they could not stop the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, but Brad, the Knicks played. I mean, that was a very disjointed final possession, and Trae Young was able to hit the shot. And Julius Randle, you got nothing out of Julius Randle. First playoff jitters, bad game, however you want to classify it. But if the Knicks continue to hold the Hawks to under 120 points, which I think that's kind of like my threshold in the new NBA.
The Knicks had the fourth best defense in the NBA this year, but they were first in field goal percentage, I think first against three-pointers. They had a whole lot of really good statistics defensively. But the Knicks need another big offensive player. I mean, Barrett's a pretty good offensive player. Derrick Rose has been a very good contributor, but they need another guy besides Randle, because if it's all on Randle in the playoffs, it's tough. Especially when it's his first playoff series. We'll see. I think the Knicks will be better in Game 2. I would expect that the Knicks get a double-digit win in Game 2, but it's going to be tough for them to go down to Atlanta and win. I mean, I know they swept them during the season, but the playoffs are a completely different animal, especially in the NBA.
Yeah, it is, and I'm looking at the box scores right now. Philly's still 2-2. Keep you updated on that as the show goes on. We'll circle back to baseball later in the show.
We're still having the Mets 3-0, by the way.
The Heat are getting absolutely tattooed in Game 2 of their series with the Milwaukee Bucks. It's 63-36, a little more than midway through the second quarter. So there's still about 6 minutes left in the first half. They've already let up 63 points. They've only scored 36. I mean, that's what, a 27-point deficit? It's not even halftime. That's surprising to me. I thought Milwaukee was.
The Heat have had problems all season. I don't know what the problem is with the Heat this year.
Yeah, and they started playing good down the stretch, and I thought that this was a prime spot for an upset because the Bucks have kind of disappointed with Giannis and Budenholzer there in the playoffs. But I mean, they're going to take a commanding 2-0 series lead. I mean, they won both games at home, so home court served.
They're going to hold serve at home court.
So it'll be on Miami. Miami will have to do the same.
When do the Nets play the Celtics again?
Tomorrow. Sixers play Wednesday.
So it's probably tomorrow. They're not going to have the Nets and Sixers playing the same night.
No, you got Milwaukee, Miami Game 2. Then nightcap is Portland, Denver. Portland leads that series 1-0. I like Portland in that series, I guess, without Jamal Murray for Denver.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them.
And then tomorrow you got a doubleheader. You got a game at 7:30. The Nets are going to play the Celtics. If I were a Nets fan, I'd be concerned. They're obviously going to sweep the Celtics just because the Celtics don't have Jaylen Brown, and the Nets are just way more talented than the Celtics.
I don't think they're all that. I think the first half, the other night, they were very tentative. But I mean, the middle of the third quarter, they took
Brad. My point being, nobody did anything besides their big three.
Well, usually they get.
If they're going to beat the Bucks, I mean, it looks like the Bucks right now, but things can change. It could be the Heat. I picked the Heat, so I hope they. I hope they at least.
The Nets. When the Nets play the Bucks, which is probably going to happen, I think the Nets can beat the Bucks. I mean, Joe Harris.
They won't beat. Yeah, I mean, if Joe Harris and the guys like that, the role players on that team aren't going to do anything like they did Saturday night against the Celtics in Game 1, they're not beating the Sixers or the Bucks.
Well,
not going to happen.
I would think that you'll see them play a little bit better. I mean, listen, you're right that they can get away with it against the Celtics because they're a significantly better team right now than the Celtics.
Yeah, they're going to sweep Boston.
Yeah, the Celtics unfortunately for them are not healthy. So you're not going to They're not going to beat the Nets.
And the Celtics, they're just not.
This just isn't their year. And maybe it's not Miami's year either. So,
and then tomorrow nightcap, we have Phoenix and the Lakers.
Now, as a Sixer fan, you got to be rooting for Phoenix, right? You want LeBron out of there. If you do get to the finals, you don't want to be playing LeBron. You don't want to be anywhere near LeBron. Right? I mean, I would think so.
Well, I've been one of LeBron's biggest supporters because I'm a fan of what he does on the basketball court and his skill set and how I think he's got the greatest skill set in NBA history. I'm so, just like I just explained why I'm over Aaron Rodgers. I'm so over LeBron James. First off, he shouldn't have even been allowed to play in Game 1 on Sunday because he went to that promotional event with his tequila company or whatever the hell he's doing with all his buddies out there. Then he has the audacity to insult my intelligence and say it was a family event. It wasn't a family event. You were promoting your tequila that you're a part owner of at a nightclub party. Why don't you just be honest? It's like Bob Baffert with the horse racing. I know you like horse racing. Like the groomer didn't pee in the stall on the hay and infect the horse with the medication. Like you cheated. You cheated and you got caught.
You got caught, exactly.
Just say you're sorry. Say, yeah, we were trying to get a little bit of an advantage. We overdid it and we're sorry. And it won't happen again. And move on.
Move on.
Okay, cool, dude. You're trying to win the Kentucky Derby. I get it. You thought it was going to be out of the system by the time that they tested it, whatever the case may be. You cheated. You got caught. You're going to pay the consequences and you're not going to do it again. Then if you do it again, then you're a crumb. And I'll crush you forever. But, I mean,
exactly.
He goes to that, and then in the play-in game against the Warriors, I mean, look, I've been poked in the eye before. I'm sure you've been poked in the eye before. Anyone who's done anything somewhat athletic for any extended period of time has probably been poked in the eye before.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've never been on the ground for 80 seconds after being poked in the eye. You know, you get up, maybe you splash some water on it, you go on the bench for a couple of possessions, then you go back in. And then, like, he's trying to convince everyone, like, when he hits that three that, like, oh, I don't even know how I did that. I saw 3 rims. I just went for the one in the middle. Ho-hum, I guess I'm the best. Like, shut up, dude.
Yeah,
you're not.
He's really pretty tough to take. But even so,
he's got to play, and then he's got to play a lot better. So maybe he drank too much of his tequila at his little promotional event. Shouldn't have even been allowed to play.
I agree with you.
Sunday,
I guess,
and he played like shit. He played like shit.
Here?
Anthony Davis played like shit. Chris Paul played like shit. He was probably at that party too, but no one cares about Chris Paul because he's a total mutt and he's going to mess everything up anyway in the clutch. He played terrible, and the Suns squeaked by. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in this series because if Anthony Davis and LeBron James don't play A-plus basketball, I don't think they can beat a team like the Suns.
No, the Suns have those young legs.
This is where it hurts them that they were in the play-in series or the play-in tournament, whatever you want to call it.
I would agree. I mean,
they had to play an extra game.
I guess my question to you is, as a fan of the Sixers, if they get to the finals, okay, would you be more worried if you had to play Phoenix or Los Angeles? Now, I picked Phoenix to be in the finals. I just think the way they play, it's going to be very, and they're so young, it's going to be very, very tough to beat them because they play up tempo and they're young and they can run and they're in such good shape. I just don't know if some of these other teams can keep up with them.
Yeah, Jimmy Rodweiler, LeBron Jimmy Rod. He agrees to our poll question. It's time to start making the right people accountable in this town. So he holds Joe G accountable for this under 500 start, even though this roster is very talented. And he also thinks LeBron is becoming a hate the face. He's so he's cringe. He's a cringeworthy. Every time he opens his mouth, he says something. I just cringe.
Yeah, and the way and you know his new nickname is now LaFlop. I mean,
LaFraud. I mean,
yeah. Well, I keep seeing on the internet everybody calls him LaFlop now. I mean, that can't be good.
No, I mean, look, you got poked in the eye, dude. Like, let's calm down.
And
now,
as you said, it's true. Anybody who's played sports has been poked in the eye. The one sport that I got poked in the eye more than any other sport was football. Football, you're always getting poked in the eye because you know what? Every time, if you're going out for a pass, okay, and you're trying to catch it, and somebody's trying to knock the ball away, they're going to get you in the face.
It happens.
Yeah, it's just you don't get mad at it. You're just like, oh shit. And if the guy hits you a little too hard, you know what? When he goes out for a pass and you're covering him, give him a little shot. That's all. It's not. But I mean, nobody ever. First of all, most guys are tough, and when they get hit like that, they want to get right up and not even rub it, because nobody wants to acknowledge that you hurt them.
Right, like Kobe and LeBron. Like when they were on the bench after they came out, like they would have ice packs the size of my head on their knees, on their shoulder, and everyone would ask them in the press conference after the game, "You're like, yeah, like you're all right. You got ice everywhere." Like, no, I'm not hurt. Then the season ends and he's getting like a shoulder reconstruction surgery or knee reconstruction surgery, saying that he's been hurt half the season. LeBron tries to convince you, no, I was hurt and I made it anyway. He thinks that's like the cool thing to do. That just shows you how the NBA has evolved and how it's a soft league, and how when college basketball is going on, I won't even look at the NBA. The last two regular season games that I watched for the Sixers were the Pacers game and the Heat game. They got smoked and they looked like total ass cheeks in both of them. And I was pissed off. But now they're going to sweep the Wizards, and then they're going to probably sweep the Hawks or the Knicks, and it's going to be fine. You're going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, and then the Utah Jazz, who were my pick to come out of the West. None of this is on record because we didn't do a show last week. But I know from talking and texting with you that you like the Suns in the West, and I guess I like the Jazz. Because I don't think the Lakers can go from play-in tournament to finals. I think that's too hard.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think when guys miss as much time as LeBron and Davis both missed, that they missed a lot of time, both of them. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to really get yourself back into game shape and for the playoffs. That's not easy.
So, and then the Jazz, but they're playing chicken with an 8 seed out there. Memphis, who's riding sky high on momentum after beating the almighty Steph Curry and the Warriors in the play-in tournament. Then the Jazz just concede game one. You know, their best player, Donovan Mitchell, their point guard, they hold him out at game one against Memphis. Pretty much, I mean, you're not going to beat Memphis without Donovan Mitchell.
Why would you do that, though? That doesn't make any sense. It's
the only thing I can think of is that they thought they could win without him, and they almost did. They lost I think it was an overtime game.
I mean, were they banged up? Was that the problem?
I mean, Mitchell, he had an ankle sprain. He missed like a couple of weeks at the end of the season. But, they didn't need him. They already had the 1 seed and playoffs all wrapped up.
I wonder if his ankle was barking the other night. Maybe that was. He
says no. The Jazz held him out.
Yeah, but I can't believe that they would. I don't think that they would hold him out if he could play.
The only thing, but even if he can't start, and this is why I got on Chris Paul in Game 7 against the Warriors. I think it was 2018. When the Rockets had him dead to rights. The almighty Kevin Durant, super team Warriors. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, all that in a bag of chips. The Rockets had him dead to rights. But James Harden's a fraud in the clutch, and Chris Paul's been a mutt for years. He'll be a mutt this year for the Suns. And that's why the Suns won't make the NBA Finals. Had him dead to rights. Chris Paul gives you 0 minutes. 0 minutes at home in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
You're right. You're not wrong about that.
You got to give me
I
something.
remember that. I do remember.
Give me 15 minutes off the bench. Now I think Donovan
even
Mitchell's great.
Even give me 10 minutes off the bench. Give me 5 minutes before the half, and give me 5
active.
minutes in the game.
Have your uniform on. Don't be sitting on the sideline like a complete jabron in a suit, cheering your team on. Be in uniform.
Yeah,
get in there. Close out quarters. Play in crunch time. Distribute the basketball. So,
little update, Rob. Little update on the Mets. They are trailing 3-0 after 6. And Gomber is pitching a one-hit shutout.
I'll tell you what. When it comes to Austin Gomber, he's pretty good.
He's okay. You know what, though? I picked him, to be honest with you. I picked him because the Mets are all banged up. But after I took him and then I took a look at the Rockies' road record, I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, they're 2-17 on the road. 2-17. That's beyond bad. That's worse than the Orioles.
I hear you.
That's really bad. But Sixers are looking good. They're as long as they can keep everybody healthy, they should be okay. But that's going to be the key. And honestly, they should try to make sure that that Joel Embiid doesn't play too many minutes, so you don't get him too tired.
No, because you rested him. You rested him. Joel Embiid should have no minutes. I mean, he didn't play his full docket of minutes because he got 2 bogus offensive fouls to start off the game.
I wouldn't play him more than 36 minutes in a game.
Hey, if you need him for 38, 48 minutes, you play him.
You probably won't.
Not against the Wizards. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As long as, especially in the early rounds, in the first 2 rounds, if you don't have to make him play 42 to 44 minutes a game, then you're in a situation where they're going to be tough because he's going to.
You don't think he would have played 40 minutes yesterday if he wasn't in foul trouble?
Yeah, but the Sixers kind of had that game under control for the most part.
It was closer than it had to be because Joe was in foul trouble. I mean, once the second half hit, they they hit some shots and they pulled away because they can't stop Joe.
They were never really seriously threatened. I mean, the Wizards made it closer than it had to be, but it wasn't. The game was never really that close.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't even consider a minutes restriction for Joe. This is why you play load management during the regular season. The rest is going to come.
I would just be careful with him because you know what
Brad, the rest is going to come after you sweep the Wizards because you play Joe 40 minutes a game, and the Knicks and the Hawks are probably going to go 6 or 7 games. I think the Knicks bounce back and they win game 2.
Oh, I think they do too, but I don't know. I don't think the Knicks are going to win this series. When I look at the 2 rosters, the Hawks. I mean, I think the Knicks have the X factor, but I just think that the Hawks just have better players. I just think there's too many high quality offensive players on the Hawks, and I just don't think the Knicks have enough offense yet.
You might be right. But
I mean,
defense.
Listen, they have the Knicks play hard. They're a really gritty team, and there's no question about that. But they have. Randall needs help. If Randall is having an off game, they're not going to ever win. If Embiid has a bad game, Simmons can pick it up for him.
Tobias Harris had 35 yesterday. He led the game.
Harris can pick it up. You know what I'm saying? If Randall has a bad game, who else is going to pick up the slack? I mean, yeah, Burks did yesterday, but I mean that's. That was one game that it happened, but they still lost the game. You know what I'm saying?
But if you can hold the Hawks under 120 points, and
I think it's going to be. I think they have to hold the Hawks under 110 every game.
That's going to be hard because they do have talent and they do have Trae Young and they do score a lot of points. That's their calling card.
They lost 107-105 yesterday.
And on his 96th pitch, Zach Eflin gives up a cookie, a bases clearing triple. The Phillies go down 4-2.
Oh boy! You know what's really ridiculous is that the Marlins right now are only 2 games out of first place. And the way the Mets look tonight, I think the Mets are going to get the way they're playing right now. They look like
that's not even a bad. I shouldn't even say that's a cookie. That's not even a bad pitch. It's a breaking ball low below the knees, and he just golfed it into the gap. I don't know who it was. Josh Birdie, maybe, who can run a little bit. Gets into third easily. That's tough. I mean, you're gonna need the rally. They're gonna have top 7, top 8, top 9. So you get 3 more at bats to score 2 runs. The Phillies have been resilient this year. I've been impressed with their resiliency. They have been able to rally late in games to make games interesting, and even have won a couple games.
What kind of a bullpen are we talking about with the Marlins?
I guess we're gonna find out. I mean,
honestly, I hate to say that I have no clue. I have no clue what kind of a bullpen they have. I don't watch enough of the Marlins to really be able to tell you what kind of a bullpen they have. The Yankees,
the Marlins fans don't even watch.
Yeah,
the Marlins bullpen.
Good point. I know that they have extraordinary starting pitching.
They have Trevor Rogers, who's pretty good. Pablo Lopez, he's pretty good as well.
The guy whose name starts with an A, I can't pronounce his last name.
Oh, Alcantara, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good too.
Sixto Sanchez hasn't even pitched at all yet.
No, and he probably won't till like July. The way it looks.
What a shock. Remember when I told everyone to not worry about that trade because Sixto Sanchez has arm trouble?
All you had to worry about with that was just to make sure that you signed Real Muto. That's all, and you did. So I mean, the only way you can
Jorge Alfaro. I mean, is he even on the Marlins anymore? I haven't heard his name all season.
I haven't heard of him, and I couldn't tell you who their closer is. I couldn't tell you
that guy. They had that Yami Garcia guy. He's been pretty good.
Okay. But I mean, they're one of those teams that they when they score, they seem to win with speed, with decent batting averages and speed.
Well, they can run. Chisholm can run. Birdie can run. Brian Anderson's a pretty good athlete.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rob. I just saw a play just now with the Met Rocky game. Which you talk about luck for the Mets. I mean, the Mets catcher, whoever the heck he is, I think Nito, completely fanned on a fastball. When the ball went back to the brick wall, hits the brick wall, comes right back to him on one hop, and the Rockies had a guy on second trying to go to third, and he got nailed. I mean, boy, oh boy, that was quite fortunate for them. But now we go to the bottom of the 7th, and the Mets are being one hit by the Rockies right now.
Right. What do you think of all these no-hitters?
You know, I think it's just a coincidence. You know, I just
think it's a coincidence. Go ahead and finish. I don't think it's a coincidence.
I think that some of these pitchers are just really good, and I think a lot of these guys. I mean, not counting Kluber, because Kluber doesn't really throw all that hard. Kluber's like in the low 90s. But, you know, you're getting guys who are throwing 95, 96, 97 miles an hour as starting pitchers. And I think it's gotten to a point where you got too many hitters who are trying to load up and swing for the fences instead of trying to put the ball in play and grind and get base hits and try to just get their bat on the ball and play, play pesky baseball. Everybody wants to hit home runs because they all want to make a lot of money. So you're getting guys that the big bombers are all going to hit their home runs, Rob. the Judges of the world, the Acuñas of the world, the Guerreros of the world, they're going to all hit their home runs. But when you have guys, some of these little guys who are all with the launch angle trying to hit the ball out of the park, and the fastballs are coming in at between 95 and 97 miles an hour, and they're trying to uppercut these balls, especially when these pitchers throw high, hard ones. Okay, it's not going to happen, and that's the result of this. I just think that's I think a lot of it is the analytics is causing the no hitters.
That much I agree with. I don't think the pitchers are any better than they were a couple of years ago. I mean, there's not this evolution of pitching.
No, and if you take a look at the guys who've actually thrown the no hitters, I mean, other than Kluber, it's not like you're getting Cy Young Award winners throwing no hitters. Wade Miley.
Yeah, Wade Miley hasn't done anything since his no hitter.
He hasn't done anything his whole career.
What was it? Spencer Turnbull threw one?
Spencer Turnbull on Detroit. I mean, he's never done anything. He's never done anything.
Carlos Rodon, I think he's a pretty good pitcher. He's got great stuff.
Yeah, you and I have talked about him. You and I are always trying to get him in the fantasy league all the time.
He had like 13 strikeouts in 5 innings.
Yeah, he was unbelievable against the Yankees. But
even that, 13 strikeouts in 5 innings, like see the ball, hit the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
No hitters are happening.
But here's the problem. You strike out 13 guys in 5 innings, and then you're out of there. You're out of there after the 5th inning, and then your bullpen has to come in and finish off the game because Carlos Rodon is one of those guys that's always getting hurt all the time. So the White Sox have to baby him.
Look at the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners were able to get rid of. They were able to dump some shitty contracts on the Mets and Brody Van Wiegenen. They're able to get Kliniak. They have Mitch Haniger. They have J.P. Crawford. Oh, like a young core. Taylor Trammell's about to come up. They have Kyle Lewis. They're hitting 198 as a team. It's a complete joke. You're drilling this launch angle analytical bullshit into these terrific young players' minds, and it's totally ruining them.
Well, and the other thing is, analytics says it's easier to hit a home run than string together 3 or 4 hits. But that's not really. Maybe statistically, maybe the computer is right about that. But I miss the steals. Like I miss trying to go first to third. Now nobody tries to go first to third on a base hit the right field. I think the stolen base is starting to come back, though, Rob.
A little bit. It's not as pronounced. It's not as pronounced.
The Yankees ran on Chicago like there was there was no tomorrow this past weekend. I mean,
the Phillies have stolen some bases too. I mean, Gene Segura's got a handful of steals. McCutchen steals. Bryce has 4 steals.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you might be onto something there.
Yeah, I think the stolen base is coming back. But what you really like to see, I mean, the Yankees only hit this weekend. I think they only hit 1, maybe 2 home runs all weekend.
I mean, you'd have to tell me that. But
they scored. But you know what they scored? They scored what? They scored 5 runs on Sunday. They scored 7 on Saturday, and I guess they scored 2 on Friday. So they scored 13 runs, but they only got 2. I think they only got 2 runs on home runs. They scratched out the other 11 runs. That your offense, if you're going to be a good offensive team in this day and age, you've got to be able to score runs both by hitting home runs and or by being able to use some speed on the bases, move base runners, and play ABC baseball. Just like, when you have a runner on second and nobody out, you move them to third with 1 out. You get a productive out, move them to third with 1 out, and then you get the sacrifice fly. Or you get the ground ball that they had that's not easy to field. That's just good, solid baseball. And that's what's missing right now. It's too much walk, strikeout, or home run. And quite honestly, I think it puts a lot of people to sleep watching that kind of baseball.
It's boring. It's a boring game. You want to get fans into it. Yeah, sure, the game's getting played 10 minutes quicker, but it's boring. It's not exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that's
no bang, bang play. When's the last time you were watching a game and there's a bang, bang play?
Well, there's a triple play on Friday night.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that's not.
Yeah, no, I know. But I mean,
a triple play is luck, a lot of luck, if anything.
Oh hell yeah! Well, yeah. I mean, the ball has to be hit hard, okay, and usually and both the guys on the left side of the infield and the right side of the infield have to get the ball with perfect precision and make perfect throws. Yeah, there can't be any kind of a bobble or taking your time. It has to be bang, bang, bang. I mean, they're fun to watch, but I mean, the problem is these guys are all trying to hit home runs, and I think that's why you're getting no hitters, because when it's all or nothing, there's too many nothings. That's why you're getting this happening.
Yeah, and then teams get no hit.
All right, and I think you're going to get 3 or 4 more this year.
3 or 4 more no hitters?
Yeah, I bet you do. I'll tell you what, Gomber is pitching a 1-hitter with 2 outs going into the 7th. Austin Gomber. And he's not even that good. I mean, I know the Mets are banged up, but still, it's the point. I mean, you'll see too much of this stuff.
What do you think about these unwritten rules in baseball? Because you got dinosaurs like Tony La Russa who want to bitch about these unwritten rules. And you have guys like CC Sabathia that say if you don't want everyone to, break these unwritten rules with the position players pitching and swinging at 3-0 pitches and Cadillacing home runs when you're up 16-4, just make a 10-run rule. Get in, get out, save the bullpen. So, I'm pretty sick of hearing about these unwritten rules. And now you can't even police yourself because, the umps are quick with the warnings and they're quick with the ejections, and it takes away half the plate. And that makes it, even more boring for the consumer.
Yeah, I would agree. However, as far as unwritten rules are concerned, I think the unwritten rules are just an example of poor sportsmanship. And as far as the White Sox are concerned, their players are full of shit, okay? And they're hypocrites, okay? They're screaming at the fact that Minnesota's all pissed off about a guy swinging a 3-0 pitch, okay, when they're up 14-4 and he hits a home run. But meanwhile, the Yankees are ahead 7-0 in the 8th inning against the White Sox on Saturday afternoon. And the White Sox had a runner on third with 1 out. And Urshela, it was a hard ground ball to Urshela, and Urshela threw home and nailed Tim Anderson at home plate. And the White Sox were all pissed off after the game, screaming at the fact that it's 7-0. Why aren't you just taking the shore out? Blah, 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 blah. And the Yankees are like, we wanted the shutout. And the whole thing is, you can't have it both ways, players. Okay, you want to cry about the unwritten rules. You don't like the unwritten rules when you want to swing 3-0 against a third baseman pitching. Okay, but it's not. But that's okay. But when a guy throws you out when you're down 7-0 at home plate, then you're bitching about it because there's an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do that. You know what? Just don't be hypocrite about it. Okay, that's all. And as far as the baseball gods are concerned, okay. That Mercedes guy, he got his yesterday. He got plunked in the head by a curveball by Jameson Tyon. So it happens. Now Tyon wasn't trying to hit him. I mean, he threw a curveball and Mercedes just basically ducked his head right into it, which I've never seen anybody do something that dumb. He actually moved his head kind of into the strike, ducked it into the strike zone.
I mean, at least it was a curveball.
Yeah, it was a slow curve, and he got knocked down, but then he got up and he ran to first base. I mean, he was okay because it was like a 70-mile-an-hour pitch, which is still, if that happened to me, you'd probably have to carry me off in a stretcher, and I'd be unconscious for a month. But guys that age who are incredibly athletic and in shape, they can take that kind of thing. But as far as the unwritten rules, I believe in the unwritten rules because you know what? You don't want to show up your opponent. What's the point of doing that? I mean, in football, when it's 28-3 and you have the ball with 4 minutes to go, okay, and you're the team that's ahead 28-3, are you throwing the ball down the field or are you just going to run the ball? And if you have to punt it, you punt it. No pro team does that.
I'm sick of these unwritten rules. I'm sick of them.
But you know what, though?
Because everyone has their own interpretation of them. Like, okay, is it okay to swing on a 3-0 pitch here, or is it not okay? It's different answers. Should I put a position player in? If everyone's going to bitch about these unwritten rules, which are archaic and dinosaur-like, just put a 10-run rule in. You're up 10 runs after the seventh. If it's a 10-run game after the seventh inning and the home team's gotten their licks, everyone's had the same amount of bats, game's over. See ya.
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But they're never.
You want to talk about why?
Huh?
We're never gonna see a 9-inning doubleheader ever again. Ever again.
No, you're right about that.
Ever again. Every doubleheader from now until Kingdom Come is going to be 7 innings, which is nonsense if you ask me. So
I agree.
If you're going to do that, if you're going to alter the game that much on a doubleheader, why can't you make a 10-run rule?
They do it.
I'm not trying to see. I'm not trying to see Bryce Harper get hit in the face because of something he Cadillac a home run 2.5 years ago. It's nonsense. 10-run rule, easy. Just make it happen. Give me a DH in both leagues.
Rob. It's just about sportsmanship. That's all. I mean, that's all it really is. I mean, it's kind of like in hockey. Okay, when there's like a minute and a half to go in the game and you're ahead 6-0. Okay, and then you get a power play. Are you going to put your first line out there in the power play, or are you going to let the fourth line go out there and have a little fun? Most coaches will let the fourth line go out there and have a little fun. That's just what they do. You know, in basketball, when the game is over, these teams dribble out the clock. They don't try to score. You know,
the only thing, and like in college football, like Jimmy Johnson, he got a bad rap because he would put his second and third stringers in, and the Miami second and third stringers would be better than, you know, Oklahoma or Notre Dame or whoever they were playing's first stringers. So they would still score.
There's a difference. There's a difference though in college football, and I hate that they did that. I hate the way they run up scores. But unfortunately, until the computer stops rating teams based on by how many points they win by, you're gonna get these situations where if it's 77-0, the team is going to score again to make it 84-0. You know, I mean, that's just what's going to happen because you're being rated. Because if you don't, and another team scores that many points, you may not make the playoffs. You know, and that's the problem with college football. You know, if it's 48-0, you know, if Rutgers loses 48-0 to Ohio State, but then Wisconsin beats Minnesota 62-0. Okay, when it comes to determining a playoff team, that could be the difference. You know, and that's really the problem with it. So I mean, but I don't have a problem with these teams running up the scores in college football because that's kind of because they, you know, it could be their season depending on that, on how much they win by.
True.
You know, so I can't blame them for that. That's not their fault. That's just the way it is. But these pro sports, come on. You know, I mean, do you want to see kids doing that? You know, what are you teaching the kids that are watching the game? You know, play the game the right way. You know, play with class, and then you know what, these kids when they get older and they play college baseball and then they eventually go on to the pros, they play the game the way it should be and be played with class. That's just doing that is no class at all. I mean, what are you going to prove? What are you trying to prove? Well, I mean, for crying out loud, the guy who was pitching to Mercedes in that game, he could barely reach home plate. He was like lobbing the ball in. Those balls were 50, 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, and that's nonsense. You can't tell me you don't have an outfielder or a shortstop that can throw the ball in there with some zip.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he – I don't know
the Reds were up big. They put an outfielder in. He was hitting 92, 93 on the gun.
Yeah, well, listen, you remember Chris Davis, the guy that played for the Orioles?
Yeah.
Okay. Early in his career, there was an Oriole Red Sox game, and I think the Red Sox were ahead of the Orioles 12-0. Okay. So they let Chris Davis pitch the ninth inning. Chris Davis was throwing 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, some of these guys have cannons.
Yeah, and
they can't throw strikes.
And I remember Chris Davis threw a 95 mile an hour pitch to somebody on the Red Sox, and they took the pitch and they were laughing because they were shaking their head like, what?
And you guys want to be butthurt when a guy blows them away, but like some of these guys have legitimate cannons. They're just not pitchers because they can't.
Because they can't control they can't control their pitches, and they're not. They just don't want to take a chance. I mean, listen, Jose Canseco kind of almost ruined his career by pitching an inning because he was trying to gun the ball when he was pitching and he hurt his arm.
Yeah, I think Jose Canseco had numerous problems.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm just giving you an example of some of the stuff that can happen.
How about the beef? What is with him and A-Rod? Why do they hate each other so much? He's always talking shit on Twitter.
A-Rod
and Canseco. Yeah, Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez, they broke up.
Yeah, no, I know that.
So Jose Canseco, he tweeted out, Alex Rodriguez must have cheated on Jennifer Lopez worse than he cheated in baseball or something like that. But I don't understand because Jose Canseco, I mean, he's pretty open that he used steroids and performance-enhancing drugs.
Well,
I don't know why he's getting on.
I think Jose thinks because he openly admits that he did it, and these guys will lie about doing it, and do it and didn't, and then lie.
Is that his beef?
I mean, I honestly don't
Google it.
I don't know. I mean, you know what? Jose Canseco is kind of a weirdo, and A-Rod is just one of those guys that, you know, nobody likes him. You know, I mean, he's just kind of an unlikable character. As much as you try to like him, it's very hard to like him because he's just an idiot. He just does idiot things all the time.
Oh, looks like A-Rod dipped his pen in Jose Canseco's ex-wife.
Oh,
years back.
Well, if that happened, then I can understand the beef. Then okay,
well, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so they got high school trauma. They got high school trauma.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But like Alex Rodriguez never says anything to Jose Canseco. It's like one way beef.
Because Alex doesn't want to go there. You know, he's always created controversy.
And the Phillies are unraveling before my very eyes. I've seen this way too many times, especially against the Marlins, especially on the road. Brandon Kinsler comes in, three-run homer, 8-2 Marlins, and stick a fork in the Phillies.
Well, the Mets are still down 3-1. McCann hit a home run in the bottom of the seventh. So now it's 3-1 in the top of the eighth. But I mean, the Mets unfortunately for them, the lineup they're putting out of the field right now is just they're not going to score a lot of runs.
Nope.
They're just not. So now and then if you look at the standings, what the Nationals are 20 and 23. What are they? 2 games out of first place?
Yeah. 1.5. Braves and Phillies are 1.5, and the Marlins are 2. And I forget what the Nationals were. They're in last right now, though.
Right now is that one really good hitter on the Marlins back yet? The guy they got last year for the
Starling Marte? No, he's still out.
He's still out. I wonder when he's.
I didn't see him, and he's not in there tonight, so I would assume that he would be in there.
Okay, Chisholm finally came back. They definitely missed him. But, the National League East right now is bad.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
I thought it was going to be a really good. It's a competitive division, but it's competitive because all the teams stink. I thought it was going to be.
I would have thought at the beginning.
I thought it was going to be competitive because all the teams were going to be good.
I thought all the teams were going to be pretty competitive, but as it's turning out, I mean, they're all competitive, but they're all bad. I mean, that's very strange. Just a very strange season. The Braves, I think, are the number one strange team that we've seen this year. I mean, you have Acuna having a great season. Freddie Freeman is not really.
Kinsler's in there throwing batting practice. There's a ground rule double by Birdie, who I believe has a triple in this game already. Maybe some cycle action. You get a double and a triple. You got to be thinking cycle action. You're Josh Birdie.
What inning is it?
It's the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, he's not going to get any more at bats.
I don't know what he has. I don't know. The way the Phillies bullpen's pitching right now, they might get around again.
Oh God. It's hard to believe. I want to talk a little bit about the Yankees, Rob, and the situation with them, Tampa, and Boston. Because right now you're looking at a team that's 11 games over 500, a team that's 10 games over 500, and a team that's 9 games over 500, and they're all even in the loss column. I mean, right now, all 3 of these teams are playing at the top of their game. It's going to be real interesting in that division.
I'm astonished at the Rays.
Yeah, I am too.
I don't understand how they do it. I don't understand the metric they use analytics, which I don't like, but they use the right analytics, and it's not nauseating. I mean, the opener stuff's a little nauseating, but they haven't been doing that much this year, have they?
No, not really, not as much. I mean, they're basically trying to do the 10 pitchers in a game thing. That only happens once through the rotation. I mean, today Yarborough started and he pitched. I think he pitched 6. Did he pitch 6 or 7 innings? I can't remember.
He pitched well.
Yeah, he did. He did. He pitched. He did pitch well, but I mean, Glasnow.
Jays didn't get going until the bullpen came in.
Yeah, I mean, Glasnow has been outstanding.
And then I rip him for trading Blake Snell, but Blake Snell hasn't been that great for San Diego. He's on my fantasy team. He's getting touched up right now against the Milwaukee Brewers. They're down 5-0. He's out of the game.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, guy in his prime like that, 26 years old.
Yeah, you would
switches leagues. I thought that he was going to be prime for. I mean, he could still get it together and make a push.
I mean, it's still only May. I mean, but yeah, that is pretty surprising. I mean, you would have thought more. I mean, you kind of got the same situation, I guess, in the NL West with the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants right now.
I don't think the Giants are going to last.
No, but right now you got to give them their marks. I mean, they've been able to stay right with those 2 teams. Which,
I mean, you saw what happened when the
Giants
played the Giants played Dodgers head to head this weekend. Right?
Yeah, the Dodgers.
Everyone saw what happened.
Yeah, they carved them up.
Okay,
so you're right about that. You're right about that.
I like their pitching. Gosman's pretty good. Wood's been healthy. He's been good. Their young kid, Logan Webb, he's been good.
He's on the injured list now.
Scalfini has been excellent. I'm missing someone. Gosman's
been really good.
I feel like I'm missing a pitcher. Wood.
I can't remember.
Cueto. He's been up and down.
Oh, Cueto is old now, but he can give them some of the. Some of the leadership that they need. So, I'll tell you what. This guy Gomber is now up to 7 2/3 innings. mean, how bad are the Mets right now? How bad is their offense?
They're awful.
I mean, it's unbelievable how bad they're hitting right now. I mean, I think Cameron Maybin is their cleanup hitter tonight.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make a trade, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if Alonso, Conforto, and McNeil are all going to be out more than 10 days, they're going to have to because they're going to lose every game. I mean, I don't see how they're going to be able to score even against. I mean, the Rockies, as I said, are 2-17 on the road, and their pitching staff has not been good on the road.
Well, DeGrom coming back tomorrow, or is it Wednesday? Is he coming back?
I heard it was tomorrow.
I mean, he'll come in. He should give him a boost.
You would think so. But I think the Mets need to do something. They need to make a trade because it's getting to a point.
They need bodies. They need bodies.
Yeah, they do.
And the Braves are making out like bandits because they stink. They can't put anything together in terms of a win streak, and nobody's making them pay.
Yeah, and you know what? All the Braves are going to have to do is have put together one solid month of baseball, and all these teams could be in the dust.
Yeah, it's like if they go 10-4 over 14 games, they're going to be up in the standings by like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of the problem.
All right, we got to get out of here. Flight Zone's coming up. Thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Philly Drinkers, Body Check Wellness. Use the promo code A2D, 20% off your order. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Until next Monday, we will be on the air next Monday, Memorial Day, normal time. See you then. Peace out, everybody.